Well, that was a bit of a drama. Finally got the back off. Some not very bright person has glued it down. You can see pieces of the original case here stuck to the back. It's been glued down by some idiot. And as I expected, the top piece is broken off. You can see it's still attached to the case down there. So I'll remove that, glue it back onto there. I'll clean this mess up around there, smooth that around, and then when I put it back on again, I'll put 1 or 2 screws in either side down there, small screws to hold it in place. You don't have to be too clever if you think you're a clock repairman, that's for sure. Any old rubbish will do for most people. However, and there's the movement. We've got it out of the case and it appears to be not in too bad a condition actually. I'll remove the case and we'll come back and we'll have a look and see what the movement looks like. Alright, finally we can have a look at the movement outside of the case. There's the brand Sessions down there with its patent number. Doesn't seem to be in too bad a nick. There's a little bit of excess oil on it there, but not very much. Or there's some on the J hook. Yep, springs are wound nice and tightly. We'll have a look at that pinion there in that bushing. That's a guaranteed replacement. That's before we've started looking. That one too, yep. Well, I have a feeling we're going to have some rebushing to do here. But in the meantime, the movement seems to be in relatively good condition other than a little bit of oil running around. We'll take the movement to pieces in a moment. But as we saw before, it seems to be working properly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Count lever drops into a deep slot. And also if you look closely, you can see that the count lever, the flat part of the count lever, the blade there, sits pretty much in the middle of that deep slot. It's not over to one side. Alright, let's take the movement apart. Yeah, that's going to have a new bushing put in. Anyway, let's take the movement apart. Before we do, you'll notice I'll run it again. No, we don't need that. We'll let that run out. Right. Now, first thing we'll do is we'll let down the mainsprings. There's one click in there, and the other one is just on the outside there. So we'll let the mainsprings down for a start. These are the mainspring clamps that are the correct size. We'll put one over the strike side mainspring, turn the movement back over, let it rest there for a moment. Now, using the number 6 let down tool, we put that on the winding arbor, wind it a tiny little bit, put some pressure on it, screwdriver blade between the click and the ratchet, and let the let down tool run round in your hand a little bit, and then check and see. No, we've still got some room there. Got to go a little bit further before the mainspring clamp is going to make any difference. Down a bit further. Alright, let's check that. The clamp's staying in place now. We'll put it in the center of the spring. Once again, pull the click away from the ratchet, and this time let the spring run down completely till all the power is contained in that mainspring clamp. And there it is. Mainspring clamp is in the center of the spring. So we now repeat the process on the other side, putting the clamp in, seeing if it'll fit. Nope, a little bit. We've got to wind the spring up a little bit more so it'll fit in. Put the key on, give it a couple of turns. And that's happening because we haven't got the pallets in. I'll hold the escape wheel for a moment and we'll drop the mainspring clamp over. And it's doing our job for us. The click has obviously dropped out of the spring and it's just spinning around on the ratchet. So, alright, that's not a problem. Hold the mainspring clamp in the centre of the spring. You'll notice I'm slowing the movement spinning with a couple of fingers down here on the hammer. The clamp is now caught. Turn it over and we'll have a look and see. Yeah, all right, that has almost run down. All right, now put those aside, we don't need them now. Now we'll take these nuts off the pillars and then we can start to take the movement apart, and we'll check after it's been through the ultrasonic, though it's pretty clean, a little bit of oil here and there on it. We'll then check the pivots and the bushings because we're going to have some rebushing to do on this. So take these guys off first. This one's a little bit sticky. That's better. All right. Now, even though we've contained the springs, there might still be a little bit of tension left in the movement, so we very carefully lift the plate up a little bit at a time. We don't just grab it and yank it off. So we'll be prepared for a little bit of movement if necessary to release the last little bit of tension from the springs. Very carefully. That one's out. First pillar's out. Second one. Little bit of movement there. You heard a little bit there. The fly's fallen out. And that one. Alright, so we can now very carefully lift up the top plate. And the escape wheel is caught down there. There we go. But the rest of the movement is pretty much where it's supposed to be. That's the top plate. And the escape wheel, I'll take that out. Have a look at the plate. No, it doesn't seem to be in too bad a condition. Alright, put that aside. And now I'll put the lift lever back into its correct position. And the J hook goes there. Warning wheel back in a moment. Lift lever goes there. The spring is pulling it out of whack a little bit, but that's where it goes. The J hook goes there. Lift lever goes there. And the fly goes there. Alright, I'll turn that round. And there we have our movement set up with all the wheels in the correct orientation and in the correct position. Alright, we'll start taking the movement apart now. First piece that comes off, part of the motion works, the cannon arbor and the owl wheel. We'll take that wheel out next and put it in its position on our foam block. Out comes the rest of the motion works. That wheel there is called a contrate wheel. You can see the teeth run at right angles the way they normally do. They're the two cams. The J-hook works on those. We'll take the third wheel out. The going side train, put it there. Then the second wheel goes there. And then the first wheel will come out and go there. And then we can take the great wheel out. We do that by slipping this loop up the pillar there and lifting the great wheel and its mainspring up, and there we go. We'll take those apart and clean them and grease them later on. I'll put that over there in its own little box. Then we can come round to the other side. Now take the fly off, put her up at the top, and warning wheel comes out. Yeah, they don't seem to be in too bad a condition actually, the warning wheel. Now before we go much further, we're going to have to remove these springs that are attaching. Out comes the J-hook. That's the J-hook. We'll see how that works later on. That can go up the top there. Now we'll slide the lift lever off, complete with its spring attached to that pillar. That's the lift lever. That's the count lever. That's the lever that operates on the maintenance cam. And this lever here is the one that arrests the hook on the warning wheel, like so. Alright, put those there. And go up the top also. Now, maintenance cam is next. That's the maintenance cam there. First wheel, lift that up. Put that on there on our block. Now we'll take off the hammer and its piece of wire that clips over there. That's an unusual placement for the spring wire, and I don't know that that's correct actually, but they normally run through a little hole and clip over the plate down there. Right, put that aside. Now we'll take the mainspring out, slide the loop up over the... Yeah, it seems to be in pretty good nick. It's all in pretty good nick considering the age of the clock. Alright, what have we got in here? Yeah, a little bit of oil on it, not very much. But there's some pretty wonky bushings. That one there is way out of whack. So is that one. And that one there is elongated also. And that one. Alright, little bit of bushing to do once we've cleaned this movement up. But you can see it shining there. That's little bits of oil on it, little bit down there. Someone's over oiled it to get it going again, allegedly. All right, I'll get them ready to put into the ultrasonic cleaner, and we'll clean up, we'll grease the mainsprings, put them aside, and then put the parts through the ultrasonic cleaner. And there's all our parts laid out in the correct orientation on our foam block.